All right, good evening once again. So today class is a continuation of our Python class, and we were looking at string operations. So today is the third class on string operations. So today we'll continue on concatenation of strings. We say strings like good and boy. The word good is a string, and the word boy is a string, can be joined by using the sign, the plus sign. So you can print good plus boy, and it will output good boy. So supposing we have two lists of games with their praise, like say games equals to snake, deer, chicken, praise equals to eagle, lion, and falcon. We can actually print games plus praise, which is going to concatenate these two lists. So this is how we do this concatenation. We have the string and integer concatenation. So a string and integer can be concatenated if the integer is being declared as a string before at printing. So you can look at this. We said something that if there's a formatting code in the program where we say print the string age plus integer 30, where we declare it as a string, and it will output age 30. But if we just write age and we put the plus signs and we put 30, it will give us an error message. So Python string interpolation is another form of concatenation that we are going to look into. So now let's go into the programs so we can explain better. Now, this is a program that concatenates strings. So let's look at here. We are going to write a program that concatenates this particular list we have here. And we have the pupils, we have the scores. So we are going to write a program that concatenates these two lists we are going to build here. So in the last class, we designed this program that gives names of pupils and their scores, either in a test or examination. So let's keep this order that has to do with zipping the list. Let's go to a program that actually concatenates those two. So what we'll likely do is to print we're going to print the pupils, and we print the scores. All right, let's run that program and see how it goes. So the program will tell us to enter a name of people. It's going to run. Yeah, enter name of people. Let's say name of people is Annie. And what's the score? 100%. Let's enter another name of people called Ini. And what's the score? 70. Let's enter the name of people called Isa. And what's the score? 95. Let's see how it goes. Now you can see that this program we wrote had the print statements printed each of the string and later on printed the scores according to how we declare the print statement. So that's for that. So we can also use the formatting method to concatenate strings. Yes, there are two things about this formatting method we need to observe. First, we need to observe that we can concatenate two strings by using this formatting. The percentage sign, and we now include the S. S stands for string. We write it this way, and we then declare this variable, and we now print it out. We declare this string, and we now print it out. We can also print integers. We can also combine an integer with a string. But when we are combining a integer with string or string with integer, we must make sure that we identify the string with an S, and we identify the integer with an I. We cannot use any other letter to declare this formatting. So that's what I observe here. I don't know if there is, but from my knowledge, we cannot use any other letter. I'm familiar with the S, which stands for string. Whenever you know that a string is supposed to be at that position, you use the word S. You use the letter S. And when an integer is supposed to be at that position, you use the letter I. And in this case, the pupils and scores are both strings. So we use the letter S and S. So we can actually print that. Get the program to run. Okay. Let's call the first person bar. Bar has 45. Let's call Ni. Ni has 34. Let's call Ma. Ma has 67. Let's see how it goes. Now, there's a print statement. We declare the formatting string, and it printed good boy because both are strings. Then we have the ones that printed integers, 89 and 67. And the one that actually printed that which we declared, we imputed and printed them, Barney and Ma, and printed their scores according to the formatting. So that's how that code runs. So whenever, if we had to put under this good boy, let's first of all close this program. We don't want it to run. We have been able to use it to do what we needed to do and achieve it. All right, let's also hash these other ones. We don't need it now. All right, we want to print age. Let's print boy here and print his age to be 4 years old. So we have to, if we print this like this, it's going to give us a error message. Okay, it does not. It prints it as strings too. Okay, I wanted it to print an integer here. So let's run this place as integer. Let's see if it's going to print. It still prints. The idea is this: I want us to see a situation whereby we can print an integer and print a string too. It still runs. Okay, I think that code still runs even when we changed it. But let's make this one integer and see what goes. I want it to give a error message. Yes, it has told us that the formatting of the first one is supposed to be a string, not an integer. So that is what the error message has told us. So this one, boy, is supposed to be a string, not an integer. But it has actually made this 4 that we wrote here. It read it as an integer and also read it as a string. So we didn't have problem with that one. So I just wanted us to see the error message whenever it doesn't go according to the formatting that we wrote. So that's for that. Let's look at something else we have here. Yes. Okay, we've talked about concatenation. Interpolation also is what we just did, interpolation of string, which we declare the formatting statement. Then the next one, the iteration through strings. We did iteration through strings when we did the using the for loop in previous class. So we would rather ask that everybody goes and read through about it. If anybody has a challenge, we can work on that. Talked about strings of other strings operations, the enumerate strings. Enumerate string is used when we want to count through the strings. Like we remember when we use a for loop, we can use enumerate to count the characters of the string, and the length function also the number of the characters. We have the escape sequence, we have the format function, we have the lower and upper functions, which has to do with lower alphabet and the capital alphabet. We have the join and the split functions, the find and replace functions. We won't go there now because we are going to functions in our next class. So then in our next class, which will be from Friday next week, we are going to discuss Python for data scientists thoroughly, where we are going to start with functions. All this might actually be discussed, but probably, let me use the word probably, because there are lots of functions, inbuilt functions. So we will highlight them, but we may not discuss them much. We will define our own functions and use it as a learning guide. So we will discuss functions next Friday next week. By this, we have come to the end of our string operation class in Python. So our next class will deal on functions. And when we are done with functions, we are going to talk about we're going to talk about we already have this here. Yes, we'll go to another topic, see that way. Then we look at Python libraries. That will be how we're going to discuss in Python class. Thank you very much once again. Today's class was not meant to be long. We just needed to round up the string operations that we did. There are a lot of things in string operations, but the more we learn Python, the more we practice, we'll get to use them. So for now, these are the things, the basic things we need to know and continue to practice them. Thank you. Have a wonderful night's rest. Goodbye.